Hello, everybody. It is now SKYRIM Sunday, the most holy day of the week. I'm not starting late. My mic was not broken. That would be crazy. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Welcome in, everybody. I don't even got my shit together. I never have my shit together, but it could be worse. I've had my shit less together on other days, but welcome in, everybody. Happy SKYRIM Sunday. We didn't have a SKYRIM Sunday last week because I went to go see a baseball game and my team won, so it was actually really fun. But I'm not gonna lie, there were times where I was sitting there and I was like, damn, I could be playing SKYRIM right now. We need a poster of Evie with all the SKYRIM OCs around. Yeah, I'm thinking about doing that when we do when my SKYRIM model debuts. I want to do merch with the SKYRIM model, and I'd love to do like a poster or something like that. I have this idea in my brain of like me in like a tower, like a wizard tower type shit, and then like stained glass windows behind me of like the 3 SKYRIM OCs we've had. I think it'd be really cool. But that is definitely something I've thought of. But how is everyone doing today? Last time we had SKYRIM Sunday, it has been a hot minute since we have played, but we recreated our love, Rasha. Rasha is now back with us. Our favorite orc mommy in the whole wide world has now returned to us, thankfully. So let's get into the game. And also, Immersive and Epic has updated. So I don't know entirely if it's save game compatible, but I haven't had any issues. So far. So I know they do advise you to start a new game whenever there's an immersive update, but so far I personally have been so good. However, don't like I am not the end all be all of that kind of thing. Let me make sure my game audio is working. It says it is not. Cringe. Okay, hold up. Why is it not? What? Why isn't there audio this time? Hello? Let's see. Maybe if I do this one? No. Maybe if I do this one? I think that might have done something. I don't know. Oh, I didn't set up tits. Thank you for reminding me. I knew I forgot something. I'm late because I was eating tacos. That's a very valid reason, honestly. We haven't even gotten started because I broke my... I've been having audio issues like the past... I don't know. I got this new audio interface and like, it's just weird, you know? And it's definitely one of those ones where I was like, I needed one fast. So I didn't like do a ton of research. This was just the cheapest one on audio website. But... you live and you learn. How was your last stream? It was good. We had a good Pathfinder session. It was very fun. We're very close to... Oh my god. I think it's super cute that it shows like Flower Girls installed. Have fun. That's so cute. I love that. So, we are back with Orc Mommy. Welcome in, everybody, if you just got here. As you can see, Rasha is looking very, very cute. Has her little... She is a Barbie girl. Now she has her, yes, gay gnomes was the big takeaway from last stream. It was a gnome and a halfling, but like gay gnomes just really rolls off the tongue. You know what I mean? But anyway, here's Rasha, our Barbie girl, in a Barbie world. She's got her little bow, she's got her pink face paint. This is season 2 Rasha, okay? It's like Ruby, right? She had her season 1 outfit, this is her season 2 outfit, okay? In her lovely, lovely orcish armor. She's looking very, very cute. So, we were doing the main quest because David's like, hey, have you actually finished the main quest in any of your playthroughs? And the answer is no. No, we have not. So, we're gonna do that. And we're actually gonna start off today with going up to the Greybeards and saying hello.
7,000 steps again, Klimek?
I didn't ask.
Not
all
today.
right. Anyway.
I'm just not ready.
Oh my gosh, their voices are so loud, even though I'm like walking away. Yeah, they're starting to die now a little bit. We are gonna grab as many like hides and oh shit. Hello? Hello? What is that? I hear a bear. Lydia, you hear that? What is that? Barbie has a game? Oh honey, Barbie has so many games. Barbie has I think my personal favorite is probably Barbie Horse Adventure Mystery Ride. Barbie Princess and the Pauper is pretty good, not even counting all the Flash games. There's some good Barbie games. So right now, I think we're gonna use Axe of Whiterun because I guess I died. I don't remember what happened last time. I guess I died because I wanted to do like a sword and shield type beat, but I guess... Oh no, here's my shield. But I don't have a one-handed weapon. So that's a little bit frustrating. I know I did want to do Conjuration again. But I guess for now, we'll just use our crossbow. Actually, yeah, let's use our crossbow. We'll let... Oh, Lydia, you good? Lydia? Okay, we'll let Lydia take the lead, but something is... something is up. You... Come on, you'll figure it out. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on, Lydia. Come on. Come on. You can do it. Come on, just rotate. 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 Come on, queen. You rotate. Oh my god. Okay, rotate. There you go. Good girl. Good girl. There you go. I like treating my followers like they're pets or like cats. That fucked up. That's probably fucked up. I shouldn't have said that. Anyway. Oh, Ryan. Oh shit. I forgot to turn alert sounds back on. Ryan, thank you so much for the resub. You now have 9 PlayStation 2 gamers. Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate it. It is work mommy time. Let me do that real quick. I swear there's gonna be no more scuff in like 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Yeah. There we go. Can I have it redo the alert? There you go. Just in case you really wanted the PlayStation 2 sound. I got you. Ah, shit. Thank you for the Yeet Gamer. Welcome in, everybody. I do hear some sussy noises, but I guess it's...
Is someone there?
Okay, yeah, that's... Oh, shit. How do you... Oh, fuck. How do crossbows work? Okay. Bam. Oh, I missed. Oh, you just do your...
That's how it's done.
Okay, you just do your thing, queen. I'll let you... Oh, shit. I keep combat rolling. Oh, fuck. I don't mean to keep rolling. Hi, everybody. Hi, Entanglement. Hi, Emil. Welcome in. I'm currently playing Pathfinder Kingmaker. We did a Pathfinder in real life, not on stream, but we did a Pathfinder Kingmaker game with our IRL play group, and it was a lot of fun. It's just like, at the time, the character I played, I actually played Rasha in that game, and in that game, Rasha became a princess. Because of like the way the Kingmaker things were, she wasn't like actually a princess, but she was like the ruler or whatever. But I called her a princess because I think Rasha should be the next Disney princess or the next Barbie or whatever the fuck. And she was very pretty. It was really funny because whenever we played, I wanted to emphasize that I was the princess because to the shock of absolutely no one, I'm a huge brat. Oh, what are you doing? Hello? You just chilling? He's just chilling. But basically, anytime I had to do princess things, like when we did our kingdom turns, because the way Pathfinder Kingmaker works is it's like a regular Pathfinder game, but you also get to manage a kingdom. So you have these things called kingdom turns where you do kingdom things like, we're going to build things, we're going to go get lumber, we're going to do this. It kind of like gave me the vibe, low-key, of if you were to combine traditional Pathfinder and like RimWorld or something like that. I have to tell you guys about my new RimWorld, by the way, that I've been playing off stream. It's been, someone gave birth and then they just dumped their baby on the floor. It was really funny. But basically, whenever we did kingdom turns and I had to do like kingdom ruler princess things, I wanted to wear like a little crown. Oh shit. I wanted to wear like a little crown or something while I did it. But I didn't have like a princess crown or anything like that. Oh, hello, camera? Oh shit. Did I break it? Okay, no, we're good. But I didn't have like a little princess crown or anything like that. But I did have a pair of Mickey ears from Disney World that had a little princess crown on them. So anytime I did princess things, I'd put on my stupid fucking Mickey ears, and it was like, I felt very important whenever I did important princess thing. Okay, I don't know. Here's the thing: is I feel like a lot of people like. I feel like based off my personality, a lot of people think I'm kind of a tomboy. I'm kind of right in the middle, if I'm being honest. Like, I love being a girly girl sometimes. I love wearing, like, I have a collection of, like, the Mickey ears from Disney World and stuff. I like to get a new pair every time I go. I love, like, makeup and girly shit like that. Like, I'm wearing, like, a pink skirt right now and My Melody earrings. But I feel like because I'm so, like, crude... people don't think I'm like very girly, but I promise I am a girly girl, except when I'm not and I don't wear pants.
Girl boss.
PCA, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the stream now. Guys, GateCube girl boss. Welcome in, gamer. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I like to like dress up. Here's the thing with working from home, right? Because right now I'm full-time working from home with my studio. Uncle Man, thank you so much for the follow. You know, guess like keep girl boss. Welcome in. But basically, you slayed that Lolita outfit. Yeah, I love Lolita fashion, bro. It is my favorite. I want to get more Lolita fashion dresses, but those shits are expensive. One Lolita dress can easily go for like $300 to $500. I found some indie brands, oh shit, that are more affordable, but like, they're still like $200. Oh, finally got your first Skyrim stream. Well, welcome. I haven't played Skyrim in a hot minute, so I'm really excited to be back here and playing and on the rim. But what was it for? Oh, thank you for the hydrate. I forgot my water. I don't have water with me right now, but I do have this old can of Mountain Dew, so that should work. Thank you for the posture check too, gamer. But basically though, when I work from home, the thing is I'll be like, oh right, time to get into my work clothes, and it's like t-shirts and athletic shorts. Because like I rarely, even if I turn my camera on, no one's seeing like the bottom half of me, right? And I still wear pants because like last thing I want to do is accidentally stand in a funky way and then like I'm not wearing pants, right? That would be fucked up, you know? But like basically what happens is like when you're working from home all the time, you don't go anywhere. And I like dressing up. I think dressing up is very fun. But I don't go out very much because I'm not going out to work. I'm not going like into work. So you have situations, Lydia, come here. There is a frost troll. But you have situations like today where I was like, ooh, I'm going somewhere. Time to dress up. Time to get dolled up and do my makeup and get a cute outfit. Do you want to know where the fuck I went? Where I got all dolled up? It was fucking IHOP. I literally did a full face of makeup to go to the fucking International House of Pancakes. And you know what? I do it again. Howdy, nice to meet you. I've got recommended to you from you. Oh, thank you, gamer. I'm so glad you guys enjoy my TikToks. Whenever you guys come in and are like, I found you on TikTok, I'm like, yippee. I'm glad people like my funny little videos. We love serving it at IHOP. Yeah, okay, I'm glad you get it. You can justify wearing, if you wear, you know what, that's true. If I wear the dress 5 times, it's $40 per wear. That's a good way to think about it. That's a good way for Emi to get bankrupt. Okay. Man prevailed, shouting Alduin out of the world. Good for man. I know, is it referring to like one man or just like all men? Man prevailed. Oh, it says there, okay. I guess that means many men, or man is like, they pronouns, which like good for them, you know? But like, I like the idea that it's just every single man went, ugh, and then Alduin disappeared. I don't remember jack shit fuck all about Elder Scrolls at this point. About the lore. My mind is so rotted from just hot women. They'll be like, oh yes, during the Oblivion Crisis. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Nothing wrong with that. IHOP is practically holy ground. True. IHOP and Denny's. If you were a theater kid, it was Denny's. Oh my god. If you were a theater kid, you absolutely did some war crimes in a Denny's. That's just like standard, you know? To go to Buffalo Wild Wings, I love Buffalo Wild Wings. We used to have a Buffalo Wild Wings. We have a Buffalo Wild Wings near us now that we think might be a money laundering operation. Because every time we go in there, granted, we've only been there like 4 or 5 times, but it's been enough, right? Every time we go in there, it is empty. Absolutely empty. Except for like maybe 1 or 2 people. The service is awful. The food is still good because it's Buffalo Wild Wings. Like, you can't. It's hard to fuck up Buffalo Wild Wings food. That shit smacks. But the service is fucking awful. It's empty, and there's like rats and shit there. And people have said on Google multiple times, like, "Hey, this place is really fucking gross. There's like rats and shit." And it's been like years, and it hasn't been shut down. So I'm like convinced that Buffalo Wild Wings in particular is like a money laundering. Sorry, I keep looking this way. We live in a basement apartment.
Gaslight,
Sweet,
girl
thank you so
boss.
much for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Now, Gaslight, Gatekeep, Girl Boss. I keep looking this side because we live in a basement apartment, right? But it's a basement apartment with a window. So sometimes what will happen is kids will walk up to our window and they'll just stare. They'll literally just like walk up to our window. And at first we were like, okay, maybe it's just our cat. Because our cat sometimes sits in the window. And I understand being a little kid and wanting to look at the cat. That makes sense. But our cat's not up there right now. So these children, I see like the shadows of children coming up. And yesterday, during like right before, I think it was right after stream, one of them came up Jetmir was not, my cat's name is Jetmir. Jetmir was not in the window, and these kids are just going, just staring at me.
So, a dragonborn.
They're playing
appeared.
soccer. Okay, so if you hear like a loud bang suddenly, we haven't died. A kid has just hit a soccer ball against our window. It's like, don't get me wrong. Trust me, I understand that they're just kids,
First,
right?
let us
I
see if
get
you
that,
truly
but like,
are dragonborn.
why they gotta stare
test
at me,
your
bro? like I get being curious, but like, probably looking at all the cool D&D stuff and games you have. We do have some cool stuff in here. Like my bass guitar is in here. David's like Warhammer setups in here. There's a lot of instruments
Shout
in here.
at us.
But like our
Let us
sword
taste
collection's
of
in
your
a different room. Okay, time to scream. Ah! You like that? You like that?
Do not be afraid.
Oh, okay.
Your shout will not harm us.
Should I shout at you? Wait, who are you? Hold up.
Is there something
Who
I can
are
do
you?
for you?
Who are you?
Shout
We
at
should
us.
talk
You don't
again
look like an
sometime.
old
Taste of
man.
your voice.
Maybe you are. No, I don't judge. Anyway. Ah!
How did you do that?
Okay, that worked. All right.
Dragonborn,
Anyway. Huh?
it is you.
God, you all look the same.
Welcome
Oh, wait, is
to
there?
High Hrothgar.
I saw a big titty statue for a second.
I am Master
Whoopsie.
Angir.
I'm practicing know
speak
every
for the
main
Grey
quest
Bears.
by heart. I haven't
Now,
played
tell
through the
me,
actual main quest in
Dragonborn.
fucking forever, bro.
Why have
We
you
started
come
it
here?
with this character, and then my save game, I fucked it up by adding too many mods. So we made the character again, and now we're doing it again. Anyway, I'm not calling an old man master. Sorry, that's not for me. If it's for you, I'm not gonna judge, but not for me, personally. Who the hell is Gaston? That's what I'm saying. I'm like, man? Hello? Haven't made it to the kingdom management part. It's fun. You'll like it. Who are you?
We are the Greybeards.
I do have a
followers of
sword
the way
collection.
of the
My
Void.
boyfriend collects swords.
You
Hi,
stand
Epic.
in
Welcome.
High
We have
Hrothgar,
David. How many
on the
swords do we
slopes
have?
Of Kinnared's
We have
sacred
6
mountain.
swords, and we have a few
Here
daggers
we
too, and we
commune
hang them
with
on
the
our wall.
voice of the sky.
And a war crime.
Strive to
Well,
achieve balance
one of them, it's a
between
war
our
crime if
inner
we, not
and
to own
outer
it, but it's a
selves.
war crime if we use it on someone. Because isn't it from the Civil War, David?
No,
It's from World War One,
You have
and
shown
it's like
that
a
you are
serrated
Dragonborn.
blade. So if we were to
You have
use it
the
on anyone,
inborn
we'd be
gift.
tried at the Hague.
But
I think we
you
have
have the
pictures of our
discipline
sword
and
collection. I'll have to
temperament
have
to
David
follow
put one
the
in the
path
Discord.
laid out for you.
David, can you drop a picture of the sword collection in
Remains to be
Discord?
seen. Without training,
Yeah.
you
So
have
if you
already taken
now I
the
get to
first
now I get to
steps
shamelessly
towards
plug. If you join the
projecting your
Discord,
voice into a
you
thum,
can see
a shout.
my
Now let us see if you are
massive
willing
long
and
sword.
able to learn.
It may not
When you
be
shout, you speak
12
in
inches.
the
It might just
language
be
of
only
dragons.
5, but personally I think
Thus,
5
your
inches
dragon
plenty
blood
long for.
gives you an inborn
That's just my
ability to
opinion.
learn
What were you talking
words
about?
of
What?
power. All shouts are
Oh,
made
you're not
up
the
of
one talking.
3 words
Jesus
of power.
Christ.
As you master
You're
each
talking.
word,
Okay, cool. I
your
don't have my
shout will
glasses
become
on. I also didn't take my
progressively
ADHD meds
stronger.
today,
Master
so we're in
Einarth
for
will now
we're in
teach
for a
you
ride.
roll, the
Modding on the
second
Xbox
word
is a
in
nightmare. I believe
unrelenting
it.
force.
I started playing
Roll
Skyrim
means
on Xbox,
balance
but once I got a
in the
PC,
dragon
I
tongue.
never looked back.
Combine it with fus, force, to focus your thumb more sharply.
My brain is so rotted. Okay, so I teach voice lesson, right? And song that goes like Pukiano, Pukiano, or something like that, right? And we were talking about the pronunciation in Italian, and I was like, yeah, you don't want it to be ro, it's more like ro, right? Pukiano, right?
You must
And
unlock its meaning. to
my student goes, oh, like Skyrim, and my dumbass is like, yeah,
Well, that
yeah,
is how
like
the rest of
Skyrim. Oh, I know why. Hold up.
As Dragonborn,
It's probably because of my
you can
noise gate
absorb a
from
slain
Pathfinder. Hold
dragon's
up.
Life force and knowledge directly.
Filters. No noise gate. I'm gonna be as loud as I want. Fuck you. No, but anyway, my student, we were talking about, thank you for letting me know, guys, by the way. I appreciate that. But basically, we were talking about it, and,
As part of your
did I
initiation,
absorb it?
Master Einarth will
Oh,
allow
okay,
you to tap
okay.
into
But
his
basically,
understanding.
he was like, oh, like say it like roll, like in Skyrim, like fusuro, and I was like, yeah, like Skyrim.
Now,
I
let
just
us
got
see
so excited. I literally, my brain was like, Skyrim mention. I don't know why, but it made me so happy. Okay, can I? Ooh, look at that.
Unrelenting force shout.
Look at her go.
Strike the
Oh my
targets
god.
As they appear.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Rosa!
She is really going off.
Well done. Again.
Well done.
Yeek.
Huzzah! Okay. I think my mic's lagging again. Give me 1 second. I'm so fucking fed up with my new interface, but I'll live. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry, gamers. Okay, we're good. Sorry about that. But yeah, eventually I'm gonna get a new audio interface when I have more monies. Okay.
Learn quickly. Once more.
Again. I'm playing it on Switch. I love playing shit on Switch, honestly. Alright, what about
Force, roll.
I'm gonna turn the voice volume down real quick, actually. Audio. Yeah, I had the voices all the way up because I broke my game. But yeah, I love playing stuff on Switch because I'm on my computer, like, all the time, which is like, I don't mind it because like I'm on my computer for work and then I'm on my computer for streaming and stuff. So like when I do stuff on my computer, my brain goes into work mode, right? Oh! Aquaman, thank you so much for the 10 gift subs. That's really sweet of you, gamer, to just give out so many PlayStation 2s like that. Aw, thank you. Oh, welcome in, everybody. I missed some of the chats because of the gifts, but thank you and welcome, everybody. I love the PlayStation noises. But thank you, gamer. I've been a while since I kept the stream. Hope I haven't missed much. No, you're totally good. Thank you. I'm just glad you're here, gamer. Basically, TLDR, Rasha is here now. Rasha is here now. But welcome in, everybody. I apologize if I missed any chats or anything like that. I'm glad that you like the PlayStation sound. I try to have stupid little notification sounds because I think they're funny. Yes, he is physically throwing PlayStations at you. Check your window. Came back to Oprah giving my PS2. You get a PS2, you get a PS. It's just a good sound, okay? Is there any more? Is there gonna be another sound? Give me the word. Oh, fuck. I tried to do like the and then I started gagging. Oh my god. David isn't subscribed. David subscribed to me in real life. David doesn't sub to me on Twitch. He just buys me IHOP. Last guy who showed us here, you were a Dark Elf Assassin. I have good news for you. We got the bitches back. Rasha is back, baby. That's all you gotta know. But welcome in, everyone, and thank you again for all the gift subs. I really appreciate it, gamer. Alright, is this where I get to go fast now?
Master body.
Master body. But thank you again, I appreciate it.
Now, your turn.
I always forget how stupid that animation looks.
Next to me, Master body will open the gate.
Oh my god, I'm ready,
Use
I'm
your
ready,
whirlwind
I'm ready,
sprint
I'm ready,
to
I'm ready.
pass through before it
She's a runner, she's a Jackson. It's just so stupid looking, I'm sorry. Oh wait, do I need to do it again? Oh, god damn it. Okay, let me try this again, okay? I'm waiting for it to reload. Bex. Okay.
Is this your best effort?
I literally did it! What do you mean? You did your best effort? Shut up! What?
Stand next to me and prepare your
Okay, I wasn't ready for the signal. I wasn't listening. I'm sorry, I jumped the gun.
Whoa.
God.
Try it again. Breath.
Shut up! You're distracting me. Okay, the instructions are not clear. I have autism. You need to be clear with me. Okay, Bex. Okay. Hold up. I'm ready.
Again.
I'm waiting. Ah! Okay, there we go. Yeah, I don't even care about shoving you. Fuck out of here. Wolfger. What kind of stupid name is that? Oh my gosh. It's like Wolf and the Gerber baby combined. That's fucked up. I broke them in an act. Oh no! I'm sorry to hear that, Epic. I got a clip with a graver gun. Yes. Your thumb. Oh, I'm sorry, gamer. I hope it heals okay. Have you ever used a follower mod Inigo? We do have Inigo in the load order. We just haven't found him yet. But last time we found him, his dick was just out, and I think that's really funny. All right. Here, Rasha's polite. Okay, Rasha's very, very polite. Thank you. What's next? Rasha's like the opposite of me. Rasha, like, she's very sweet. She's very kind. Imagine mocking I don't know what happened there. Listen. They made me look weak, and that is punishable by death. Okay. I don't care about. Yeah. Listen,
Or-
I've said it before. I'll say it again. I will spoil some of the stuff in Skyrim. If you are upset about Skyrim spoilers, I'm sorry. This game is old enough to be in like the 6th grade. I don't know what to tell you. I think all of the mod followers are just naked. Well, good for them. Good for them. You know, but that's the thing. That's why I like Rasha, right? I love characters that defy stereotypes, right? Rasha's whole story, for those of you who don't know, I have a TikTok where I made I went over her backstory, but her whole story is Girly just wants to be a mage. Girly wants to be a mage so bad. She literally just wants to like explore magic, and she thinks it's really cool, and she loves to read and she loves to study, right? The thing is though, is everyone, we'll do this quest over here, I think that'll be fun. The thing is though, is everyone expects her to be mean and scary and hit things, and she grew up being taught how to be mean and scary and hitting things, and she's not very good at being mean. She's that kid where, you know how like when you would play like little league soccer, right? Here, some of you will understand like exactly what I mean. She's that kid where when people were fucking it up in little league soccer, Girly was off to the side picking flowers and making little daisy chains for her friends. Me personally, I was the kid that ate dirt in little league soccer, but that's neither here nor there. But anyway, basically what would happen though is she had friends that were like, yeah, we'll teach you magic, haha, you just need to like come be our tank, you just need to protect us. And she'd be like, okay. So she'd go through and she would absolutely get fucked up in the name of like, god damn it. Thank you for the bits, Epic, I appreciate it. But she would get fucked up in the name of helping her friends, right? Because she wants them to be safe. And then she'd be like, hey guys, can you teach me magic now? And they'd be like, oh yeah, we'll do it later. We'll do it later. And then later never came, right? But that's her whole story, is she's learning how to not rely on anyone else to teach her how to do things. She's going to teach herself how to do things. She's going to get what she wants, not by being mean and scary, but by being kind and honest. All the things that Disney movies teach us, you know? Let's see. Okay, how do I get here? Investigate the ritual site. I don't know why I'm here, but whenever I do quests and stuff in Skyrim, I like to go in like a specific order. Like, I like to be geographically sensitive. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I like to go in like, oh, okay, this is close, we'll do this first. Okay, this is next, we'll do that next. Have you seen the mod where a follower uses ChatGPT and responds to you talking to her in game? I have seen that. I'm not sure like if I'm ever gonna add it, because my whole thing is like, as someone who like does want to voice act one day, is it like text to speech voices, or is it like AI voices taken from voice actors that may or may not have consented to their voices being used? If it's like text-to-speech or something, I'm all for it. But if it's like AI voices that maybe people didn't necessarily consent to, I'm not sure how I feel about that. Rasha Kanan like likes giving drugs to get no. They're peaceful guys. Listen, they made me look weak, and I will not stand for that. I think it's voices from the game. I mean, I guess that's okay, because people chop shit up like that all the time, and they've been paid for their work, you know. I just feel really bad because there's so many voice actors that are like, hey, please don't use my voice for this, and then people are just like, fuck you, and they do it anyway. And like, ultimately with the internet, at the end of the day, you can't really control what people do, you know. Oh shit, I haven't blessed up. I forgot I had a god. Oh shit, I need to bless up. Oh, bless up, bless up. That's right, I'm doing shit with Malachi. Girl, can you get your pussy away from me? I'm praying to the Lord. Have we blessed up? Wait, this is actually a good, wait, hold up. This is, wait, hold up. This is a good shot. Hold on. Look at that. That's a good shot. That's a good, and then, hold on, get one of her. Oh my God, wait, hold up. Oh, that's the thumbnail, baby. Oh my God. I love being an Instagram girly within Skyrim. That was cute. Okay, hi Heinz, welcome in, gamer. But yeah, okay. Where is the thing? The ritual site. Okay, I think I have to go around and down or something like that. Joan of Arc era. I need to remember to pray. That was my whole thing, is I wanted to use Winter Sun more, and take advantage of like being with a god, because every playthrough I've done, I've been kind of a godless heathen. Which is not ideal, you know, but I keep forgetting to pray, so you guys have to remind me to bless up. okay? Or else I'm not gonna remember to bless up, and then Daddy Malakath is gonna get mad at me, okay? And I don't want that. Moist Critical getting pissed at one for refusing to tell him its height. I might have to check it out then. I might have to check it out. I don't know. But yeah, let's go see. Is it over here? I remember the first time I played Skyrim, I tried to figure out where to go, and I ended up just walking and parkouring the whole time for like an hour. But yeah, that's basically, what were we talking about? We were talking about Rash's backstory, but yeah, that's her whole thing. Is she wants to learn magic, and she's gonna be kind of a spellblade, you know, combining her skills that she's been taught her whole life, as well as her newfound love of magic. It's gonna be fun. All right, hi. Here, let me lock onto you. Bonk. Now, this is the nice thing about not using only magic, because magic cannot stop you from getting shot in the fucking head. So that's why it's good to diversify. You know, you gotta use the best of both worlds, just as Hannah Montana said. What's this? South Fringe Sanctum. Yeah, we can explore, fuck it. I'm down to explore a little bit, why not? Why not? We're in no rush, right? We're chilling. We're big chilling, you know? Some deepfake incidents? Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing. I got into a conversation with, like, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, I will ask people, like, I think the big thing I've seen a lot is VTubers that, like, I guess, like, as a way to relate it to it. I've seen a lot of VTubers. Oh, shit. Excuse me. Hi. Okay. Oh, fuck. Excuse me. Okay, we're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. I do have a sword again, but the crossbow just works, you know? But the big thing I've seen with... Can I shoot just like... Oh, shit! This is not Minecraft. This is Skyrim. This is Skyrim. Why did that freak me out? Thank you for the bits, but now I feel a little dumb, and that's okay. Okay. Alright, there we go. So that should be closed now. They probably definitely know I'm here now, but that's okay. Let's start getting our one-hand skill up, though, now, because we have a sword now. I think that'll be good. Is anyone up here? I thought I saw someone. There's gotta be someone over here. But yeah.
Someone there?
The thing I can compare it to is, like, there's a lot of VTubers out there that are not comfortable with porn being made of their VTuber. And here's the thing. At the end of the day, you can ask for people to respect your wishes. Wait, Pumpkin? Hi, Pumpkin. Pumpkin. Anyway, I have ADHD. But basically, you can ask for people to respect your wishes. It's awesome when they do, but unfortunately with the way the internet is, you know, that may not always happen. And it is what it is. You know, that's something I've kind of learned in my time doing this, you know. Lydia, you good? Oh, shit. Okay, anyway. We'll come back to that later. We'll come back to that later. But yeah, okay, we are not hurting Pumpkin. Oh, shit. God. I didn't mean to combat roll there, but I guess it was a show of dominance. Hi, Leah. Welcome. Alright, here we go. Don't feel like you have to spend all your bits on me, gamer. That's very sweet of you, but don't feel like you have to spend them. No, I'm not killing Pumpkin! I'm not killing Pumpkin! Fuck you, game! It's Pumpkin! Hi, Pumpkin. Hi, Pumpkin. That's so cute! I love it! Sorry I killed all your friends, but, you know, you're cute, so, you know. What's in this cage? Cage gate? Oh, I guess it's for Pumpkin. Wait, no! Lydia! Lydia, no! 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 Lydia! 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 No! No! Lydia! No! No!
Mama's mercy. I can't believe I was this close to
It was a dog, Lydia! It was a dog! Why were you threatened by a fox named Pumpkin? What the fuck is wrong with you? Doesn't allow you to keep that. God damn it. This is so sad. Thank you for the Titanic flute game. That Lydia, it is a fox. Look, you killed an innocent creature. Look at it. Do you have anything?
Yes, my lady?
Do you have anything? Give me your... Do you have anything in your inventory? Get out of here. Go away.
I'll head back home if you need me.
Fuck you. I can't believe she killed... God, this is so fucked up. Why'd she kill Pumpkin? I hate Lydia. I hate her so much. You dirty bitch, get out of here. God. That's fucked up. I should have killed her for that, honestly. I've killed Lydia before. I'll do it again. If she fucks up like that one more time, it's on site. It is on site. Anyway, I don't care about people. I just care about the dog, okay? Alright, get out of here. Yeah, that's what I thought. We hate Lydia. All the homies hate Lydia. And she is homophobic. You're right. I made a TikTok about that whole joke about Lydia being homophobic because of her dialogue in the Skyrim romance thing. And a bunch of people were like, it's probably because of the god she worships. It's probably like a she's saving herself for marriage thing, not that she's homophobic. But I'm gonna be honest, saying Lydia is homophobic is really funny to me. Like, Lydia has a laundry list of reasons to hate her already. So, like, why not? Oh, who the fuck is Bashnag? Oh, shit. Maybe I shouldn't have dismissed Lydia. Oh, fuck. Okay. Alright, wait, what? Okay. Alright, there we go. Bashnag, more like I'm gonna bash your fucking nuts in. Okay. Oh, shit. Here, can I... Oh, I don't have stamina. Shit. Welcome in! I have around I'm using the Immersive and Epic mod collection, which I believe has around 700 plus mods in it. Welcome. Ooh, from Spain. Ooh. A lot of times I say I'm in Spain, but without the S. Because I'm suffering. No, okay. Alright, let's get this fucker out of here. Bro! Okay, he's just... Can you come at, like, a better angle?
I'm far worse than you.
Yeah, get out of here. Come here. Come here. Be a real man. Oh my god, he electric slid over here. Holy shit, did you see that? Okay. There we go. Wait, what was that? Okay, hold up. Oh, I didn't mean a combat roll over there. Shit. Okay, we get the block. I did notice that blocking the thing gets my magicka taken away. Okay. Alright. How do I roll? This is like the actual time where I want to roll. Oh, don't heal! Don't heal! Don't heal! Don't heal! You're not allowed to do that! That's not allowed! That's not allowed! That's not allowed! Only I'm allowed to do that! Fuck you! Fuck you! Okay, anyway. Aha! I'm in Spain without the A. Spain! If you need a David update. David!
Yeah,
How are you doing? How you doing, bro?
I'm vibing.
He's vibing! Welcome in, everybody. I live in Spain, but the S is silent, and it's not at the same time. Don't say your riddles at me. I'm stupid. No, I'm kidding. Okay, here we go. Took me 34 minutes to beat Sen's Castle. Well, aren't you just special, aren't you? I'm kidding. Well, you know, it only took me 6 hours to beat Sen's Fortress. Oh, wait, I don't think I even beat the castle yet. I think I'm still on the... We're not talking about Dark Souls. Don't speak that name in my house. How much time have you wasted on Baldur's Gate 3 today? So, I'm trying to be a good noodle with Baldur's Gate. So, some of you... Wait, is that a tripwire? No. Some of you... who are new in town may have found me from my most recent TikTok about me thirsting for Astarion from Baldur's Gate. And here's the thing. I'm gonna be so real with you. I have not stopped thinking about that man. I am still thinking about that fucking man, bro. I don't care if he's bad for me. I want him so bad. You don't understand. I want him so bad, and I'm going to make him want me. Okay? So, but here's the thing. Right? Whoa! Oh, and thank you for the wow, 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 wow. But here's the thing. Okay? I have not played any Baldur's Gate 3 yet. I have not played any Baldur's Gate 3 yet. Outside of stream. Because I don't want to, I want to play as much of it on stream as possible. Because I know it's like, I know half the fun of it for you guys is seeing my reactions. Hey, are you alive?
Please cut me down.
Are you gonna be mean to me if I cut you down? Because I don't want to be duped. I've been duped before. I don't want to be duped again.
Please cut me down.
Alright, you said please. Okay, I'm trying, girly. I don't want to hit you, is the thing. I don't want to hit you. Like, I'm trying... Okay.
Watch it. What are you
sorry.
doing that for?
Are you good?
Thanks for getting me out of that. Bashnag's coven chased me out and left me for dead down here.
Oh, damn.
Nobody lasts too long with the spiders. Please, will you help me?
I really thought
here?
she was going to dupe me. I'm going to be
If
honest.
this is clear, I'll make a break for it.
Yeah, sure. What do you mean about coven, though?
Bashnag's circle of mages. Well, they live here.
Wait, what do you mean we? Hold on,
They
let's
made
go
it
back to
pretty clear
that.
I'm no longer welcome.
Oh. Why aren't you part of the coven anymore?
I left for a few days in Riften. When I came back, Bashnag accused me of trying to
Aw.
sell him out to the Thalmor. I was cursed and chased off.
Why were you in Riften?
My daughter was sent to the orphanage
Aw.
there when I stood accused of illegal necromancy. I had no choice. Run or die. I joined with Bashnag then, but I thought of Savella every day.
Aw.
So I snuck off hoping to find and steal away with her. Only she was gone.
No.
Shipped away to another orphanage or adopted, or...
Aw.
I didn't know what else to do, so I came back, hoping nobody noticed I left.
I'm sorry. How you holding up?
I'm too weak right now. Between the spiders and the coven, I'd be dead before escaping the cave.
Do you think you can make it out of here?
Bashnag cursed me. I can't cast a spell to save my life right now.
Aw.
I'll have to wait until the way out.
I feel
is
so bad
safe.
for her, bro. Wait here. We don't know for sure if it's safe. Wait here.
Please, let me know if it seems safe to leave.
Okay, we'll hope we're out. Here's the thing. Rasha loves all kinds of magic. She doesn't think of magic as good or bad. Magic's magic, and everything can be used to further yourself and to learn more as long as you use it correctly, right? So
I
she
won't
would
be
absolutely, even though
myself
she's
for some
a
time.
necromancer and she
I
just
just
combat rolled
need
from her,
to get out of
she would
here and
absolutely help
recover.
her, right? A person's a person, even if they occasionally do death magic, you know? All right, but what is, here's the
Be
spider
careful.
egg. I am gonna be careful, I promise. Okay, is it cleared though? It'll say cleared. It is cleared. Okay, so you're good. Okay, wait, no, there's spiders. Oh shit. Here, let's get the spiders out of here before she goes. Cause if she like, oh shit. Okay, let's go after this one first. And then we'll. Okay. One-handed. There we go. Another one. Okay. Anyone else? Perfect. Okay. Let's check the rest of the way to make sure it's safe, but I think we're gonna be okay. I think we're gonna be good. Let's see. Is there anything else? Because this is the way out, right? Yeah, I think we're about good. Oh no, there's another area. Or is this where we came from? I feel like this is where we came from, actually. Yeah, it is. Okay, let's go get her. Let's go get our friend then. And we'll walk her out to make sure she's okay. But anyway, we'll Baldur's Gate. I haven't played any more of it, more of my stream save at least, because I'm obsessed, but I'm holding back. But I am going to be playing in a game with David and some of his friends off stream. And I will romance a Starry on both times, most likely. And everyone has been telling me, because people know I love mommies and muscle mommies, and everyone has been telling me, oh, Evie's gonna fold when she meets the red tiefling lady, right? Will I probably fold a little bit? Yes, but here's the thing. That's my boyfriend's girlfriend, and I want to be polite, okay? So we'll see what happens. Maybe we can share. We haven't decided yet, you know? But where is she? Where did I leave her? I want to make sure she knows it's okay. Oh. Thank you. Thank you for the bit, Scammer. I think this is the wrong way, but it might be past here, actually. Let's see if we can find her again, because I do want to help her. I just want to make sure it was safe for her before she went, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, because we came from... Yeah, I know where we are now. Okay, we'll just go back the way we came, and then we'll let her go, you know? But I am very excited for more Baldur's Gate. I love Baldur's Gate so far. I'm very excited about it. Will I return to New Vegas? Probably at some point. I am taking a bit of a break from my Saturday streams just because the school year's starting back up soon. And for those of you who don't know, I'm a public school music teacher. So I don't think it's going to be... I'm not going to have to stop streaming by any means. I'm still going to stream 3 times a week, but just to give myself a little bit more of a break, I am probably going to... that doesn't mean I'm never going to stream on Saturdays and never play Fallout New Vegas again, but they're not going to be like a consistent thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think it was this way. Yeah, but that's the way I came, so we'll just keep going this way. And I think it was not through the Rocco Sea. It was over through this way. Okay, here we go. I'm going to switch right now. I was like, oh, well, thank you for the alert, Gamer. I appreciate you, and I appreciate all the bits. Thank you, Gamer. All right, let's see. She should be past here then, and then there should be a clear way out. Yeah. Wait, what was that? Oh, no, that's a staff. I don't want to take a staff. Every time I take staffs, I just don't use them. Like, at all. And I forget about them, and they sit in my inventory and do nothing. Okay.
I'm too weak right now.
All right, it's good to go.
Bashnag cursed me.
Good luck.
Thank you. When I find my daughter, it will be thanks to you.
No problem, bestie. All right, let's go. All right, we'll follow her out so I don't get lost. But I'm also, like, low-key kind of emotionally invested. I want to make sure she gets out safe. You know what I mean? If she doesn't get out safe, if she dies, I'm going to be so sad. I don't know. I feel like with Skyrim, with some of the, like, big quests, and I don't think she's from a mod or anything, because the voice sounds familiar. You know, it sounds like one of the 5 Bethesda voice actors, you know? I I feel like a lot of times I'd get, like, yeah, I get invested with the big quest lines, but it's little NPC quests like this where I wish there was more of it, you know? Sometimes our friends like shooting a gun that or having a gun that shoots fire. I feel like my thing is I just, like, I don't really get anything out of them, you know? They don't, like, train a skill at all. I might be wrong about that, though. If I'm wrong, please let me know. But, okay, it looks like she escaped. Yay! Hopefully she's okay. Hopefully she's okay. I'm a good noodle, okay? This is my good noodle playthrough, okay? We're not doing anything illegal like earlier. Let's see. I do have a level up. Yeah, okay. We'll level up health because we don't even have any of the spells we want to use yet. So we're just gonna go straight beef for now. Because all the spells I want to use are conjuration based, right? And we literally have 0 conjuration spells. Hi Ray, welcome in gamer. So right now we're gonna put all our money in heavy armor, shields, and one-handed, I believe. So let's go one-handed, and we'll get that mastered, and then we'll do heavy armor. I think would be best to make sure we don't die. We are pretty beefy. Oh my god, we have 2 Rays. Ray 1, Ray 2. Well, hello Rays, welcome in gamer. Says our enchanting can. I didn't know that actually. Thank you for telling me. Maybe I will give him a go sometimes. Okay, what's over here? Oh, zombie. Wait, what the fuck? Zombie? Hello? No! Get out of here! Wait, what the fuck? Oh, Ray, thank you so much for the sub, gamer. Wait, holy shit! 12 months. Oh, thank you for the Ray. Oh, wait, hold on. I have brain rot now. Hold up. So much is happening. Thank you so much for the gift sub to Ray. For 12 months. That's really, really sweet of you. Thank you, gamer. I have brain rot now, which is not nearly as nice. We're gonna have to figure out how to deal with that one. But thank you so much. That's really, really nice of you, gamer. I have brain rot. Yippee! But thank you. Thank you for all the support. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. That's very, very sweet of you. Oh, shit. I feel bad because I wanted to show my appreciation, but... Jesus Christ. Wait, are these zombies cheeked up? Wait a second. Hold up. Let me get in that first person mode. Hold up. Okay. No, he's got a flat ass. I was wondering if the zombies were cheeked up. But thank you, gamer. That's really sweet of you. But let's see. Anything else over here? Yeah, what happened here? Wait, what's this? Necromancer's journal. We have some conjuration spells now, though. Wait. Is this related to the people that were friends with our friend that we helped escape? Ever since I read Yaoi fanfic out loud, my life has changed. You know, I'm not gonna say how, but yeah, I can relate. Yeah, let's take some of these. We have Conjure Zombie. Oh yeah, it lets us learn the spells automatically, which is nice. Yeah, what happened here? Do we have any other conjuration spells, or is it just Conjure Zombie? Okay, well, we can start doing that to help build our conjuration skill for when we get stuff like the Summon Blades and shit like that. But what's going on here? What's going on here? Book. Yeah, I have 2 of these. I don't need that. Necromancer's Journal. Yeah, is this An apprentice of mine recently discovered an ancient tome in a forgotten cavern during a gathering expedition. This tome is nothing like I've seen in a very long time. I believe it's a conjuration spell of some sort, but I can't be certain. I'll need to spend some time deciphering this. It could be quite valuable to us. 18th of Sun's Height, so quite a few days later, like 2 weeks later. I spent the last several weeks working tirelessly to decipher this ancient tome. It's just as I suspected. It is indeed a conjuration spell. However, the creature summoned is especially vicious. An undead zombie, wonderfully putrid potency. That's what. Hey, David.
What?
Why don't you ever call me wonderfully putrid and potent?
That is an insult, dear.
Oh, okay. Anyway, that appears to be much more active in the late night hours. I'm not stopping now. I plan to create an even more powerful version of this spell. As Molag Bal is my witness, I shall have a zombie horde at my command before long. Oh, I guess that was the zombie horde then. Nothing could prepare me for the power I am about to wield. The whole of my training has been for this moment. Soon my apprentices and I shall perform a ritual the likes of which has not been seen in centuries, and bring forth an undead army, powerful and willing to do my bidding. Well, they were pretty powerful, but it doesn't seem like they were... Oh, shit. I fucked up my outfit. It doesn't seem like they were willing to do your bidding, though. I'm gonna... I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I don't think that's what happened. Whoopsie. Okay. Well, anyway, at least we figured out that shit. Interesting. Fun, fun, fun. Alright, where to now? Because we need to clear that out. Oh, no more vision. Oh, that's my hat. There we go. No more vision. Let's see. What's next? Is there anything around here? Not quite. I guess the next closest thing would be to do one of our mercenary quests. So we'll actually head to Felberg, and then we'll go boop, and then boop. I think that'll be good. I kind of want to build a noble house, because here's the thing, is on Fridays is probably going to become Baldur's Gate Day. I'm going to be so real with you. But I also was saving Build Your Noble House for the Legacy of the Dragonborn playthrough we were doing before, and I'm sure we'll get back to that. I'm sure there'll be some weeks where I want to do Legacy instead. But this is one of my favorite mods, Build Your Own Noble House. It's really, really cool, and you kind of like work on building stuff as you go. Like here you have different build plans, different options. I think with these you can have, but yeah, you can have like a mine, you can have a whole ass castle, you can have a training camp, you can have a you can build, it's like, it says noble house, but basically it's more like build a whole ass village, you know? So like if we started small, we could start with like, what's like a small thing? Probably like an apiary? You need the construction order. So basically, here at the carpenter's workbench, we can craft construction orders for these things. And part of it is going to be gold, so we'll spend the money, right? And then here, at the, that's the wrong thing. At the build plans thing, build options, let it do its thing for a little bit. Apiary. Here. So it'll take the construction order. And then, I believe what happens then is, ta-da! So some of these things you need to gather materials for, but some of them you just kind of like dump money into, you know? But now we have bees, which is cute, you know? Is this in the mod pack? Yes, this should be in immersive and whatever the fuck one you're using. I think it's an epic and adult. And then, bada bam, free honey. And then we can sell all that, you know? Call me an economics, a business person. Yeah. We'll go with that one. But yeah, so that's really cool. And there's all kinds of stuff you can do. I'm pretty sure I'll put more money into this later. But for now, I have 12,000 gold, which is like $2. Okay, it's not $2, but it's not, I don't want to start dumping a ton of money into this quite yet. But anyway, we are on the job to kill some of Skyrim's most icky criminals, because we are a big scary orc lady. And everyone needs a side hustle. So let's head over here. We're going to take a break in a little bit just so I can go get water and run an ad and disable pre-rolls and all that jazz. I've been really shitty about running my ads on time. I like to run ads like, oh shit. Ew! Okay. Get out of here. Anyway. Oh, there you are. Okay, actually, I would like to save real quick before we do this. Okay, here we go. I don't know if I can kill him. He's level 15.
I'll make you pay.
That's the wrong button. Okay, that's how you roll, though. Okay. I might be able to kill him, though.
That's it? That's all you got?
Okay. I'm starting to get the hang of this. Alright? Entrepreneur! Thank you, Epic. I appreciate that. Okay, there we go. We've broken his shield. Oh, shit. Let me get... Oh, shit. Oh, wait. What the fuck was that? He gave me the suck, and I didn't like it. Okay? Alright, I'm out of... Can I just get one power attack in? Come on. Oh, shit, I'm staggered. Okay. Ooh. And... Bonk! Okay. Oh, shit. I got out bonked. Okay. Alright, give him a little... Come on. Come on. What is that? Okay. Oh, fuck. Okay. Thankfully, he doesn't do a ton of damage. Which is nice. I think it's because I made the difficulty really easy. So I might up that back up. Or I might just not. I need to wait for him to lower his shield, really. Shit. Okay. Got him! Alright, perfect. Woo! Okay. No more doing crime. That is very not nice to do crime. And I need you to stop doing that. Okay? Oh, and now I am over encumbered. These aren't that worthwhile. What can I get rid of? Ring of the Minor Knight. Yeah, we'll definitely wear that. We don't need these. Craft crafted to hide outfit helmet if you have issues. Is that something I can wear and wear a helmet? I'm not sure exactly how that works, but we'll keep our orcish helmet for now, even though we don't necessarily need it. That's the thing, is he has a full set of plate armor, but I have a full set of orcish armor. Is there anything else I can drop? Because I do kind of want to sell that. And I want to keep my Axe of Whiterun, even though it's not a display and we're not doing Legacy this playthrough. I want to keep it to, like, when I do get a home, you know? We have a lot of shit, though. I need to get rid of 30 pounds, so I might just eat a bunch of honey. That works, yeah. And then we'll get rid of... I don't know why we have this greatsword, actually. We'll get rid of that. And we'll get rid of... What's the cheapest out of all this? The gauntlets we don't need. We can get rid of those. And the boots we can get rid of... Oh, I think I got rid of something that wasn't the boots. I wanted to take the actual armor. There we go. And then we'll get rid of... Let's see. We don't need this hide armor. So now we're at... Oh, we need one more. Can I just get rid of, like, goat? Yeah. There we go. Okay. Now we're cooking. Alright. Let's go over then to the next one, which is over here. Actually, let's actually go back to Whiterun real quick and sell some shit. But not before we do our quick little break, just so I can go get my water. Because I literally had a cup of water, and then I started streaming and was like, oh, shit. So I'm just drinking, like, Old Mountain Dew. So I'm going to run, once the links again, I'm going to run ads real quick, go get my water, and then we will come back in, like, a minute or so. Okay? Alright, I will be right back. Bonk, bonk, and bonk. And then where's the other button? Bonk. Perfect. Okay, now we're cooking. Why is the top left a centaur? That's the autism creature, because I have autism. And it was a silly little guy that was a meme for a little bit, and I just really...
Raise your blade or surrender it. The people of Dawnstar
What?
have suffered enough.
Bro, I just sat back down. Enough of... Oh, God. Thank you for the bits, Epic. But enough of what?
Neither of us is ignorant, Dragonborn. You know of the rupture you caused in the
Have I
Pale.
even been to the Pale?
The people you indoctrinated into your cult.
What?
The supplies you've ravished. The opposition you cut down in cold blood.
Huh?
The rest of Skyrim may hail you as a hero, but that fable is
Who are
transparent
you?
to your victim.
He doesn't even go here. Okay. This must be some sort of misunderstanding.
There is no use denying it. I'm here to collect a bounty, not hold a trial.
I've been looking for you.
No, bro,
That's something
now
I'm
is
supposed
not
to
the
do.
time. Now is not the time.
Until next time.
Now is not the time, bro. I'm a little I'm a little busy. Oh shit. Can I please? Okay. Okay. I'm a little busy right now, guys. I'm a little busy, Mr. Mailman. Mr. Mailman, I'm a little. Oh god damn it! Not the Dragonborn ones too. Oh fuck. Okay. God, no! Not right now! Not right now, please! I'm busy! I don't give a shit about Murak. Okay. Killed you. Cool. Okay. Oh, great. Fuck. Oh, shit. Okay. No, not again. Oh, God. No, Jesus. Here, okay, you're first. You're first. Come on. This is... I don't see what I'm hitting. There's a tree in the way. Are you gonna help me, Bellathor? Okay. Is that... Jesus.
I've been looking for you.
Fine.
That's something I'm supposed to do.
God.
Your hands only.
That was a lot. That
Let's
was...
see. Looks like
Okay.
that's it. Got to go.
To the Dragonborn. Okay. Alright, anyway. I just got here, bro. I just sat down. That was nuts. Okay. Oh, the cultist robes aren't worth anything. I thought they'd be worth something, but I guess not. That's okay. We'll get rid of the cultist items. I thought they'd be worth something. No, I didn't want to do that. There we go. Okay. Oh my god. Anyway, orders. Oh god, you killed a guard. That's so fucked up. Bumble, thank you for the hydrate. Well, shit. Okay, so where is everybody? Yeah, why didn't you do anything? Okay. Did I get all the orders and everything? Did I kill the people? Because
the Greybeards have summoned the Dragonborn to hide.
Yeah, they sure did.
Such a thing is
Yeah,
not
what
happened
was
for
going on
hundreds.
here?
What can I do for you?
Great question. I have no idea. Okay, let's figure out what the fuck is going on. Okay. Orders? So that's probably from the generic guy. What? The Dragonborn resides on Snowdrift Island where he runs his barbarous cult. First of all, I'm a pretty girl, okay? Second of all, I don't know where the fuck Snowdrift Island is, okay? The isle is fortified and his devotees patrol it restlessly. It may prove troublesome to do it there. Instead, I would suggest waiting until you can be found traveling abroad. Yeah, where the fuck is Snowdrift Island? I don't know where that is, okay? It's okay, Epic. It was really funny. If I have too much to carry, I use a heavy dagger attack and cancel it right before. That's funny. Okay, and then this is the Dragonborn one. I don't want to go to Solstheim right now. Pretty in between sentences. Welcome into the Coin High Keeper. Jesus Christ. Okay, there's... Everyone wants me dead, and I'm really just a sweet little guy. What the fuck is up with that? Alright. Either way, I'm going the fuck to sleep. Twitch lost my clip. Oh, I'm sorry, Jingle. Hopefully it shows up in my after stream thingy. Hopefully it'll be there. Okay, I need a fucking drink after that. That was awful. I hated that. Why is everyone so mean to me? I feel like the meme of like Donkey Kong with his ass out, just like everybody's so mean to me.
I got a clean mother on this somewhere.
Okay.
What was that?
Are you guys fighting? Are you guys?
Yeah. Please, someone do something.
Kill him.
Bro, what the fuck is going on in Whiterun?
Favorite and one of the first songs I ever learned. Ragnar the Red.
Are you guys cool now? You cool?
This better be good.
Speak quickly.
Okay. Okay, beer's on you. Oh, thank
Don't
fuck.
take this the wrong way, but you look a little sickly.
Oh, right, I have brain rot. Oh, great. Anyway.
I enjoy this work well enough, but I'm ready
Can
to
I have
retire.
a room, please?
Sure thing.
How's the armor bend so perfectly to the tits? Mods, my son. Mods.
I'll
Alright.
show you to your room, right this way.
I do love the way, the new, fuck, I forgot the name of this tavern. This place looks like with the mod pack. I always do think it was pretty, you know. God. Evie always had brain rot. Hey! Wait, who's this rich guy? Alfred Battleborn? Okay, that adds up. Hey, why is he in my room? Mr. Alfred, that's my room. That's my room. I would like some privacy, please.
Let me know if there's anything else
Some
you need.
privacy. Some privacy. Hi, Zedalia. Welcome. Bannered Mare. That's what I meant. I like the way Bannered Mare looks with this this mod pack. Now get out of here. Give me some privacy. I've literally just been fucking yeehawed 6 times sideways. I would like to take a break. I don't care that it's only 9 p.m. It's fucking bedtime. I'm sleeping for 12 hours. Fuck you, game. God. The fucking other cult, the Akatosh hired killers and then the Dragonborn hired killers at the same time. What are the fucking odds? Okay? It does look very pretty though. Also, this is like a slight thing. I think these bed sheets are very nice. Yes. Oh, fuck. Bless up. Bless up. Bless up. Bless up. Bless up. Bless up! Okay. Alright. Here. Oh, wait. This is also a good one. All of my new pictures of Rasha are just gonna be her praying because I think they look... But, like, she's at the window. You know? Oh, this is a good one. Oh, yeah. Titanic Flute and Courier. There was a lot happening. Oh, did I fucking... Here. This one? This one. Where? Can I need my menus back, please. There we go. Okay, we need to do... We only pray once per day, right? Isn't that how that works? I'm not religious. I don't know how... Is it like a... It's like a once per day thing, right? Or is it like twice a day, like my Wellbutrin? I don't understand how that works. Oops, sorry. Okay, at least once per day. So I can pray multiple times per day then. Okay, oops, sorry. How do I go down?
The security in Whiterun is terrible. Shameful is what.
Yeah, you're telling me. Okay, in game and IRL. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Let's see. Let's see. Is it? Can I just? You know what? Fuck it. Oh. I was like, where are the stairs? Okay, there we go. Alrighty. Let's head out. The rain sounds on the roof look really pretty. This is like one of those things where Skyrim, where I used to, like, when I was younger, I really would just, like, sit in my basement and just disassociate, honestly.
You look worse than I feel.
I know, I have brain rot. You don't have to rub it in. God, everyone is so mean to me. It's so fucked up. All right, let's get a potion. Let's cure our brain rot and continue on with our day. All right. Hey, bestie. Oh, wait. Do I have anything I can do potions with? Boom, boom, boom. You hear that? Shh. I love rain sounds, bro. Shit goes crazy. You're not listening to the good shit unless you're listening to rain sounds. Y'all gotta get on rain sounds. That shit goes hard. Okay, here we go. Can't go to Shrine of Talos because of Malakath? Oh, that makes sense. There's anything okay. Cool. And then we'll do one more of these. There we go. Just to listen. It's just nice, honestly. That's the one thing I don't like about my apartment. Is like I can't hear the rain like against the roof because I'm in the basement, you know. But I miss rain sounds. Like when I go to my parents' house and it's raining, it's really, really peaceful, you know. It's not raining here quite yet. It's kind of like the sun's like about to go down though, you know. Not about, but it's coming. Let's see. Let's sell. I don't think we need 5 things of frostbite venom. Gonna be real. She'll take my bones, so that's cool. We'll get rid of those. Let's see. That's how I cure my diseases, but Malakath will get mad at you. Yeah, I'm just gonna use a potion so Daddy Malakath doesn't get mad at me. Potion of cure diseases. Cure diseases. Thank you. Okay. I would like my diseases cured, please. Thank you. Okay.
Come back anytime if you need a remedy.
Thank you. I thought she was made hot. Why is she... I thought there was a replacer for her for some reason. I don't know why that's not working, but okay. Alright. Let's go sell our other shit to Bellathor, because we do have a lot of stuff to sell. It is like... Even though it's raining, it's pretty in a different way. You know? Alright, let's go. Let's go.
Welcome.
I can't drink water without a straw, bro. I just accidentally almost died and then spilled... Oh, fuck. I spilled water all over myself.
Everything. Buy a sister.
I'm one of those bitches that always needs a straw. And I made this cup of water before stream, and I didn't get a straw, and now I spilled it all over my fucking self. Okay. Let's see. What do we not need? We're not doing legacy, so we can sell these stones. We'll do some stuff with the hides later to work on our crafting, because the smithing was something I did want to do, this playthrough. We don't need... Oh, wait, shit, hold up. I forgot we had an amulet of Zenithar. Let me just, do that real quick. Hi, JK, welcome in. All orcs learn to smith. She has to, you know? I mean, that's the thing, is Rasha's story is all about breaking traditions, you know, and doing whatever you want. But I don't think a single playthrough I've done smithing, you know, so we're gonna do it. Let's see. We don't need all these because we already enchanted one of them. We have this enchantment already. Let's see. I don't know why I have this leather armor. Let's see. And we can get rid of this too. I think that should be good. Anything I want to buy from him? Actually, cook my pet rabbit in Skyrim. I'm still fucked up about pumpkin, okay? Do we have a backpack on? I don't think we have a backpack, do we?
Remember,
No. Okay, let's buy a backpack so we can carry more. We're not doing legacy, but I would like a backpack.
A bit of this and a
because
bit of
I like
that.
things. I like things and stuff. Do this one, I think is fine. That should be nice. Yeah. Okay. I'm just looking at the backpacks always look really cute to me. I don't know why. I'm just looking at all the, oh, this looks cool. I'm just looking at all this shit, you know what I'm saying? All right, let's equip our backpack.
Till next time.
All right, now we are equipped for our adventures. Yippee! Okay, let's go out here, and then let's actually head to Dragon's Reach real quick, just so we can, what was I gonna say? Just so we can kind of get some enchanting and stuff done too. And then we'll head back into town, and we'll do some crafting and stuff to get our smithing level up and stuff like that. Walk through the fire and spree, Sofa made himself dinner. No! All right, let me in. I do love the doors. It's the little things with this mod pack, bro. Like the doors, the locks. They're just cool. And the game crashed.
Oh, Skyrim.
God damn it. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. We'll just load it again. Yippee! Open up the Skyrim. Stop having it be closed. Okay. Hopefully it'll load this time. Nick, hello! You made pie. What kind of pie was it? Is that your pie that was posted in the Discord? Yeah, you're the one that posted pie in the Discord. What kind of pie was it? It looked really fucking good, bro. What kind of pie was it? I love pie. I think my favorite pie is probably key lime pie, grasshopper. Oh, Thin Mint. Oh, Thin Mint pie. Oh, that sounds good as fuck, bro. That smacks. Also, my Skyrim makes a really weird noise when it starts up, so you might hear like my Skyrim start beatboxing. That's just what it does. I don't particularly know why. So let's see if it loads this time. It should, but yeah, see, it's beatboxing. It beatboxed for you. Did you like it? David saw my shit list for getting rid of Whiterun. Valid. Honestly, fair and valid. It's got chill for 5 hours once done. Oh, that makes sense. I love key lime pie. I love pumpkin pie. I think my favorite dessert is probably, what was I gonna say? Yeah, banana pudding is probably my favorite dessert. My mom used to make this really good banana pudding that I really liked. All right, here we go. Can I please go into Dragon's Reach now and do some? For some reason, I was about to say accounting. I don't know why. I was like, let's go into Dragon's Reach and do some accounting. Which doesn't make any fucking sense. I'm gonna make cookies Tuesday. I want to get back into baking. I used to do baking stuff all the time. Just like for fun and whatnot. Like it was just, whenever we have people over for like Magic or Pathfinder or anything like that, I was the person that I would make treats for everyone. You know, I would make like cookies or brownies or stuff like that. And it was like one of those things where I like took a lot of pride in it. I'm one of those people where like I take a lot of pride in really stupid shit. Like having like I love hosting people. You know what I mean? I love like having my house look all nice. I told you guys about my wax melt collection before. I have like 80 different, okay, maybe not 80, but I have a lot of different kinds of wax melt. Hi, Mammoth! Treats for chat. I will make treats for chat. For Trat? Trat? Who the fuck's Trat? Chat. I will make treats for chat. But, yeah, I mean, I'd call you out, JK, but I need to call myself out first because my executive dysfunction has been kicking my ass lately. I was really proud of myself, though. I got a first draft done of a mixing commission that I had been putting off. So I did get stuff done today. I was very proud of myself. I don't want to get rid of this quite yet because I don't have the good... I don't have good enough conjuration skills quite yet. What can I enchant, though? Can I enchant my... Because I don't think any of my enchantments are gonna be good. Yeah, I just have a, yeah, it's not worth it to enchant it just one. You know what I mean? We're preparing your occasion with a bunch of cookbooks and scream, let's bake. Fuck yeah! This is also very pretty.
Claimed everyone's passions of late. Me, I prefer my books and my spells.
Good for you for keeping good spirits while the world is exploding, Farengar. Good for you. Is Lydia over here? I'm still pissed at you. Can I tell on you? Mr. Jarl, Lydia killed a fox named Pumpkin. I would like her executed at dawn. Thank you. Okay.
What can I do for you?
I need you to kill that bitch. Oh, wait, where'd she go? Yeah, run away. Run away, whore. All right, anyway. I like peach crumble, too. Peach crumble is really yummy. I'm gonna post my first original drink since I started working as a bartender. Oh, yes, please show me the stuff you bake. I love that shit. When people post stuff that they bake or that they make, it makes me more, like, motivated to do my own shit. I love you guys for helping me kick myself in the pants. Like, low-key, if you're subbed, we've been doing a lot of sub events lately, and a lot of times I was always, like, worried about doing them because I didn't think people would find them interesting. But something I do outside of teaching music is I do audio mixing commissions. I mix people's, like, covers and stuff like that in their music. And I didn't think anyone would be interested in it, but we started doing sub events where I just talk about, like, my mixing process and show off some of the commissions I've worked on, and people really like that. So if you're subbed, make sure that you're connected, you have that shit connected. Oh.
What happened?
Yeah, they tried to kill me, Nazim. It's fucked up, isn't it? Isn't it? But people seem to have been really enjoying them. But I guess I should post as well. So if you're subbed,
Sorry.
Jeff, definitely connect those so you can participate in the mixing events because they have honestly really helped me with staying on track sometimes. But I got a commission done today. Well, I didn't get it done. I got like the first completed draft done. You know what I mean? So I'm waiting on the person who commissioned it to say if they liked it. What if EB but bald? I know so many VTubers have like a bald toggle for themselves. I don't know how to do that. I want to figure out how to do that so bad. I think it'd be so funny. Let's see. We can't make a ton of stuff right now. Is there anything I can make? I don't have any ore or anything, do I? Smelter? Let's see. No, I don't got shit. I guess we'll just keep making leather armor to boost our skills. Can I like upgrade anything? Can't I also make stuff at the tanning rack too? No, it doesn't look like it. Okay, let's see.
You there. What do you know about this?
About what? I'm not sure what happened.
If you happen to
yeah, they tried to fucking kill me and you guys did nothing.
To the captain of the guard. I've got my eye.
They tried to kill me. What the fuck is your problem? Why is everyone so mean to me?
You there.
What? Whoa! Did you see that? We were in her eyeballs for a second. That's like all of the wrong ways to be inside of a woman.
What do you know about?
Stop talking to me. Oh my god. I just want to do my fucking job. Okay, I can't do my job. I don't. Oh my god. I'm not answering any questions. Fuck off.
Is that so? Well, perhaps a night in jail might lose.
Yeah, get off my dick!
If you happen to recollect anything about the incident, be sure to report to the captain of the guard.
Fucking!
I've got my eye on
I just hear in the distance. Oh, dead body! Yeah, there's multiple. They all tried to kill me. See, hired blade. It says it on his name.
Something I can do for you?
God, I hate that. I hate. Yes, thank you for the bing bong. Okay, that was fucked up. But thank you for the bits, gamer. They're so mean to me, bro. Why are they so mean to me? Okay, let's make The leather scout armor looks cool. I don't really care. What's the most expensive to make? Wasn't it like the dark mage hoods sell pretty well? Yeah, let's just make a shit ton of those. Oh shit. And then we'll do just like a Serana hood. Ooh, okay. Yeah, and then we can go sell it. I think that'll be good. Okay. Let's go sell our stuff. Hi!
Got some good pieces out here if you're looking to buy.
Way up for sale.
Looking to protect yourself?
I still remember that time she trauma dumped to me about how her husband's dick don't work and he's gay. That was really weird. Do you guys remember that? That was crazy. Alright, anyway. It was... Where's all the shit I made? I guess she won't buy it?
Don't forget to check inside.
I bet Farengar would buy it. Let's go see... Actually, no, we'll go to Belethor. That's probably the safest to sell my shit. I can level up, though. Hi, Vader! Welcome in, gamer! I'm doing pretty good. I am having a lot of fun playing Skyrim. I haven't played Skyrim in a really long time. Well, by a really long time, I mean like 2 weeks. But I'm having a lot of fun today. I don't remember that. Here, let me get a... She's more than happy to tell you. Check this shit out.
I don't claim to be the
Yeah,
best
yeah, yeah,
blacksmith in Whiterun.
yeah.
Yorland Greymane's got that honor.
I think it's if you
Man's
say...
steel is legendary.
Yeah, my good
All I
blacksmith.
ask is
I'm
a
in
fair
need of your
chance.
crafting expertise.
Well, if you say so.
Wait, what the fuck? That's not what I wanted. Wait, what? Huh? I thought that was how I got her to trauma dump to me, but she just gave me fucking bone mold armor?
What can I do for
Trauma
you?
dumped to you when you were trying to get Lydia armor.
Oh, that's right. Well, shit, don't fucking... Oh. Well, damn. Don't mind if I fucking do. That is... Well, we need Lydia here to do this, and we dismissed her. But basically, her husband's dick don't work, and she thinks he's gay. But this, I'm not complaining about this. God damn. Okay. Damn. She just gave me so much shit. Okay. I'm just gonna, like... Is there any other, like, good shit here? Because some of the stuff I don't, like, need. Indoor? Oh, this looks cool. I just pressed buttons and now I have, like, every fucking armor in the game. The fuck? Yeah, we'll just, like... I guess it's a fashion show time. We'll make all the armor and see what we like. See what looks cute, you know?
I'm gonna charge you for it. You're crafting it.
What?
This is honed metal. You are commissioning armor.
Oh, shit. I didn't know I had to pay for it.
While it's working right, you should be paying for it.
I need to go. I need to leave. I need to leave. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck.
Working at the banner.
Oh, shit.
Welcome to Bellathor's General Goods.
Ah, fuck. No, it's okay. It's me losing all my money is funny, actually.
Everything's for sale, my friend.
Oh, shit. Okay. Anyway, would you like a bunch of dark mage hoods? Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do, buddy. And some steel plate armor? Yeah, you do. Okay, anyway.
Do come back.
Yeah, I will. Jemir's here now. Hi, Jemir. I don't know if you could hear my cat in the distance, but he's having a great time. Okay, well, oh my god, she has a fucking dump truck. Sorry. Anyway. Yeah, I need to... Are you coming to talk to me?
I've been looking for you.
Oh my fucking god.
Got something I'm supposed to deliver. Your hands only. I have a letter here for you. Let's see. Looks like that's it.
Cassia's plea. Okay, that's for...
Beyond imagining.
I love that quest. It's Forgotten City is a good quest. I hate that it fucking...
Girl boss.
I hate that she just starts talking. Abyssal, thank you so much for the follow. You're not Gaslight Gatekeep Girl Boss. What train of thought would make you think that it would be free? I don't know. There was a chicken I killed and it gave me every spell in the game. I thought it was a silly, funny haha. Where it's like, here you go. This is for the players that don't want to work and you just want to get your cute armor. Because that's how it was with the chicken in Riverwood. You remember the chicken? Where everyone's like, Evie, you just killed this chicken and you get free spells. I was like, I don't.
Beyond imagining. Cassia.
Evil chicken. I didn't know I had to pay for that. Anyway, we can never come to Whiterun ever again. Moving on. Let's go to... the why am I talking like a fucking, we need to retweet. That's right, I wanted to kill this person, and then I got distracted because I need to unload my toad. I was carrying too much shit. What happened? I was disassociating. Looks like my OC is too. Do you see her? Why'd she fucking break? Bitch, wake up! Hold on, I have to wake my model up. Hold on, she's fucking around. Girl, wake up! Anyway, okay, she's good. She's good. Are you good? Okay, we're good. Sometimes I think of my model as an extension of myself, but I also think of my model as like my evil twin, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? All right, hi Noah, welcome. Why is Orc Mommy banned from Whiterun? So TLDR, I accidentally committed. Well, I accidentally commissioned someone to make me a bunch of armor, and I didn't know I had to pay for it. If that makes sense. So, whoopsie! I thought it was like the debug chicken where I got to just take things, and I was like, okay, alrighty. Just add that stuff for your inventory. That's for lazy people. I thought it was like the debug chicken. God, how much money do you think that's gonna cost? Cause like low-key, I was kind of excited at the prospect of trying on a bunch of different armor and having like a fashion show for our girl, but like if it's like 5,000 gold, I'll fork it over. But if it's like 10K, I might shit my pants and cry. I don't know, bros. I don't know. Okay. What's in this thing? There's a shack over there. What's in the shack? Hunter's Rest. Oh. Hi. Oh. Oh, he's chilling. Okay, I won't bother you. Okay. I didn't know if it was anything juicy or anything cool, but it's just a guy. Okay. Here's who I need to kill. That's right. So basically, you can also get mages to enchant your shit for you. Ooh. Oh, I never picked my perks, by the way. Let's finish off putting points in heavy armor. And then I think the difficulty's on baby mode because I got frustrated during, yeah, it's on fucking novice. Let's put this back up to where it's supposed to be. Because I think I set it for that during the dragon, the legacy playthrough because I kept getting my ass kicked and I was upset. Oh, fox. Every time I see a fox, I'm going to think about Pumpkin. If you weren't here earlier in the stream, there was a little fox named Pumpkin and Lydia killed it and now I want to kill her. Huh? Are you the person I need to kill? Because you just look like a guy. I'm going to be real with you. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that's what I fucking thought. Idiot. Okay, alright, we blocked. I am starting to get the hang of combat, though, with new Skyrim. Okay, I am starting to get the hang of it. Okay, I'm regenning. Wait! Wait, I have spell. Hold on, I forgot. I haven't done a fucking Dragonborn playthrough in so long. I forgot I could just yeet him. Here, hold on. Let me make sure. Okay, I want to make sure I didn't accidentally start praying. Yeah, that's what I thought. And bang. Oh. Bang. Bang. Okay. Okay. Oh, lost my balance. Oh, one more. No, don't heal. Don't heal. Stop healing. Wait, what? Camilla's, no, wait, like Camilla Valerius? That bitch? What's happening here? Wait, what? You can't pray with weapons drawn anyway? Well, I'm about to pray. Hold up. Part of the clockwork mod. Oh, well, anyway. Oh, fuck, I forgot to cure my disease. Okay, hold up. Let me cure my disease real quick. No more brain rot. Let me bless up real quick. Hold up. I need to bless up. Bless up. Oh, fuck. Whoopsie. Oh. Dear Lord, forgive me for I have sinned. Sorry about that. Whoopsie. Okay. I don't know why his dick is out. I think I accidentally took his underwear. You can have that. Why don't you have that back, bud? Why don't you just whenever. Oh, where'd he go? I have your underwear, sir. Oh, there you are. Yeah, just whenever you're ready. Okay, you can have that back. Did I take the L? Sippy! Alright, let's read the actual note now. God damn it. Okay, Camilla's note. Got a delving job for us. Meet us near Cragwell Slope in East March. Oh, I think I remember this. Yeah. Leave as soon as you get this. I hear some ruins that are leading into the Velothi Mountains, just uncovered by a landslide. Yeah, I remember this. This is the horror quest. I remember that. Yeah. I think. This is big. Fresh ruins. Okay. Yeah, I remember. Torturing Bellathor is the only morally correct thing to do. This is correct, actually. This is real. That is real as fuck. Okay. All right. That's still not the person I need to kill, though. So, let's go. Why is my marker over there? Yeah, murder over here. All right, let's go murder a bad person. I mean, that guy was a bad guy, too. Even though he was kind of hung. But, we need to kill the bad guy. That was a bad guy that I didn't intend on killing. There we go. That's who I need to kill. Okay. All right. Okay. Stop. No, I didn't mean to roll at her. Oh, shit. Okay. Here, can I back up, please? Yeah. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Shield. Oh, what was that? Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Let's do damage, health, poison, and then we'll also do minor stamina. Okay. Wait, what the fuck? What'd she do? Did she stun me? I think I was stunned. Girl, get up! She slowly gets up. No! Can I? What's essence of the troll? Oh, that's just, wait. Is that just Dick Bigger potion? Oh, goodbye, Epic. Thank you so much for, oh, shit. Oh, fuck. Can I? What was that? I don't feel like dealing with this. I'm gonna be real. I knew I hadn't saved in a while, and I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck's happening. I would like it to stop. We're not Pogfish? Pogfish? Yeah, I don't know what that was, but I didn't like it. I don't care if I'm cheating. What was her weapon? Yeah, she doesn't have her weapon for us to take. What was that? It had to be some sort of stun, but I was just like, damn, okay. That's wild. All right, anyway. I know that was cheeky. I don't care. I don't care. Okay, we need to go there. We need to go there. I don't really feel like going to Windhelm right now. Yeah, we're gonna just fast travel to Ustengrav. We could go to the Immersity. She was the weapon. That might have been it, honestly. Yeah, let's just fast travel to the Immersive Hangout. We'll do a murder, and then we'll go over here. And then maybe we'll go over there and do another murder, you know? It all works out. So we'll fast travel there. And we've kind of just been doing, it's kind of been a mercenary stream. We've just been kind of going around killing baddies and shit. And I'm not mad about it. I did almost die, and I did see someone's pee-pee. But, you know, all in a day's work. All right. Let's see. We'll go, which direction do we want to go first? Let's go here, because then we don't have to go back after we do this. You know what I'm saying? So let's do this one first. Alright, one more baddie, because this is the quest of Skyrim's Most Wanted. So we're going to try to kill, as many icky people as possible. I'm like Dog the Bounty Hunter, but I'm a woman and an orc, and I'm in Skyrim. So nothing like Dog the Bounty Hunter. I've actually never watched that show. All I know is that he had like a wife, and people like memed his wife, and I don't know why. You know, Skyrim Most Wanted is hard. Yeah, so maybe doing that right away isn't a good idea, but I'm gonna give it my best shot and figure it out nonetheless. You know? Have you played Baldur's Gate 3 yet? Yeah, we've been streaming it on YouTube. We're gonna be streaming Baldur's Gate 3 on YouTube on Fridays for probably the foreseeable future. The VOD is up there, though, if you'd like to watch it. But we haven't gotten to the bear fucker part yet. Not yet. But, I have decided who I'm romancing. I'm gonna romance Astarion and maybe some more people. Because that is an option in this game, which I think is awesome. Are you guys bandits? Oh, thank God their name says bandits. That really clears things up for me. You know? Okay, take a hit. No, fuck! Okay. Okay, he's staggered. What is the little white glowy thing? What is that? I don't know what that means. That happens a bunch. You're romancing the bear? Probably, because apparently the guy that's the bear, you can be in a polycule with him and Astarion. And I like the idea of having two boyfriends and then making my two boyfriends also be boyfriends. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I think I'm gonna go. Okay. Let's get rid of, yeah, he doesn't have anything good. Did you see how the first guy had said like all the stuff I could take, but then taking one specific item was stealing? Did you see that? Where's his dead body? There he is. Okay. Yeah, see that? Why is that one specific item? What? Good luck finding someone who's into you and David. You'd be surprised. The amount of jokes I make whenever someone like says something, like they'll come in and they'll start flirting with me. I'll be like, hey bro, you gotta flirt with my boyfriend too. A lot of people are like, yeah, I'll take it. Fuck yeah. And I'm like, damn, okay. All right. I made a TikTok about it, and so many people in my comments are like, yeah, let's go. Let's party. Fuck it. Yeah. And I'm like, damn, okay. Damn. All right. Okay. I'm sniffly. Let's go, yeah, to this. Well, we'll do this first. And let's actually head to Morthal first, because that's probably the easiest thing. We may as well pick up that hold while we're on our way. So let's go over this way. We'll have to do, well, it's probably safer to explore during the day. So we'll take a rest, and then we'll, that good old well-rested bonus. Oh, and we have to bless up when we wake up. I keep forgetting to bless up. We'll bless up when we wake up, and then we'll head to Morthal just so we can, like, unload our toad. Oh, wait, shit, what is this? In your dream, you find yourself in a dark forest lit by the light of the blood moon. In the distance, you hear the howling of wolves and the faint screams of men. A horned figure beckons you from a rocky outcropping. A pack of wolves at his feet. You recognize him as Hircine, father of man-beasts. In his hand is a chalice filled with a crimson liquid. So, yeah, do I want to be a werewolf? So here's Rasha's thing. Rasha is very curious, right? She would absolutely do it, even if it's a bad idea, because she just wants to know what happens, you know? She's kind of naive, so we're going to drink the beast blood. That's right. Do we want to be a werewolf or a werebear? We'll roll for it. I have my dice in front of me. Okay. 1 through 10, werewolf. God damn it, my model broke again. Through 20, or 11 through 20 is gonna be, wait, it's against the code of Malakath? Oh shit, I didn't think of that. Well, we're locked in now. All right, 11 through 20 is werebear. Whoop. And I got it too. We're gonna be a werewolf. It doesn't say anything yet about me being a baddie to Malakath. Maybe he just doesn't know yet. Well, anyway, I guess we'll continue traveling like this. Yeah, that should be, I can't access my map, but I think I changed my marker before I did that. Your soul now belongs to Hircine unless you cure yourself. Oh, we'll see what happens when I change back and how that fucks with Winter Sun. Because it might have changed my deity already, but this could be dicey. But, you know, at least I'm a werewolf now. Whee! Alright, let's head over there. I think it'd be cool to kill somebody. I think that would be fun. Maybe we can find someone to murder. Like bandits or something. I just want to, like, try doing werewolf things. You know? Hello? Oh my god, look at me go. Whee! Let's see. Werewolf is better. Let's see. Yeah, we're kind of in the forest. But maybe we'll come across, like, a hunter or something we can fuck up. That would be fun. Yeah, there's a thing over here. Can I sneak as a werewolf? No. Okay. I haven't done the companions very often. It's one of my least favorite quest lines, so I don't usually do, like, werewolf, werebear forms. So, okay. Hello. Oh, you're already dead. Well, I did get to munch at least. Okay. Isn't there... Oh, that's just a regular bug. You still believe in Malakath? This is just some RP lore? Interesting. Okay. Okay. I respect that. I respect you bringing up the... Ooh. We're gonna save before I make a bad choice. And then we're gonna make bad choices. I mean, they can't know it's me if I'm a werewolf. Remind them I'm doing redeem completion? Oh boy. Like, they're not gonna know it's me. I'm just some random werewolf. I deserve that. Okay. Does my werewolf know how to... Oh wait, someone's over there. Oh, it's just a spider. Hello?
Someone do
Hello?
something.
Hi!
Please, someone do something.
Hi! Come here! Okay? I hope there's no essential NPCs in here. I'm trying to lock on. It's like Dark Souls. Can I please just lock on? Okay. We're munching. Oh, fuck. Wrong button. There we go. Okay, munch. Wait, no survivors! No survivors! Oh, hi, everybody. No survivors! Why is he so casual? Why did you just accept that? No survivors! Yeah, why are you just like... Yeah, I'm not getting a bounty for this. Hey! No survivors! I think maybe Diana's essential? So I can't kill her, I guess? Okay, let me make sure I fed off of everybody. Munch, munch, munch! And... oh my god, he really took his time with that one. Alright, you're all good. You're all good. I didn't mean to take his clothes. I'm just trying to eat. Let a man eat! Okay? Alright, let me see what my perk tree is. Ooh! 25% more attack. Don't mind if I do. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think she's essential. Which is a little annoying, because I didn't want there to be any survivors, but that's okay, I guess. Okay. I didn't even take his clothes, but it says that I did, so I'm like, okay, whatever. Did you? Yeah, no, I'm not taking their clothes, but it says I took their clothes. Alright. Hi! Yeah, anyone in the blue dress, it looks like, is essential. That's the trend I'm noticing. Yippee! Wee! It's very quiet in here now. It's kind of creepy. Which, like, makes sense, because I killed everyone, but... yeah, no one's fighting back at all, which is... it's kind of sad, I'm gonna be real. Alright, I fed on everyone in here, right? Yeah, I think I did. Okay, well, anyway. We should probably get out of here before I transform back. Oh, wait, did I eat you? There we go. Bloodlust extended. Okay, I think that's all of them. Alright. Well, I would say I feel guilty. I don't. We'll keep going. Oh, wait, there's more. Wait. Are these... ah, fuck the Dalmor! Fuck the Dalmor! Yippee! Okay. That was fun. I like that one a lot. Okay. Okay, give me this one. Okay. Alright, I think I ate off everybody. Okay. Let's see. Another perk. Yeah, 50% more damage. Let's just do all these before we do anything more. I am excited to murder. I'm always excited to murder. Plus, I'm gonna get away with it. They're not gonna know it's me. Okay? Besides, I already have a target on my back for no fucking reason. Right? I might as well, like, enjoy it. You know? Hi! Okay. Hello? What about? Oh, I thought I had, like, a jump thing. Okay. Come here. Oh, I can't feast off the skeletons. Okay. Can I feast off you real quick? Does it heal me if I feast? Yeah, it does. They're not gonna know. I don't even have a bounty yet, bro. I killed all those people and I didn't get a bounty. Okay? I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna be fine. Hello? Yeah! Look at that. Okay, cool. Alright. Give me your soul. Okay.
You cannot even conceive of the power I wield.
Oh, bro, look who's fucking talking. I'm literally a wolf man. Come here. Come here. I missed. It's fine. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Another one. I think that's just a skeleton. They're not gonna know. No one's gonna know. No one's gonna know. It's gonna be fine, okay? You guys are just being negative Nancy's, okay? The block button attacks with your other hand? Interesting. Okay. Alright. There's still some skeletons over there, so that makes me think someone's still alive. What? Oh, I missed. Okay, there we go. Anyone still, like, any, like, people alive? That they're not gonna know. It's fine, okay? Alright, yeah, there's still more skeletons over here. We'll get rid of these just for the fun of it. There he is. Hey, bro. Alright. Eat up. Wait, can I eat him? There we go. Okay. Alright. Let's keep farming werewolf points because that is the... that is the hill my ADHD wants to die on now. What does it say about me? I literally got this and I'm like, okay, time to kill everyone. Even though Rosh is, like, very kind-hearted. Although it could pose an interesting story of, like, she's not herself when she's the wolf. And, like, maybe, like, a Jekyll and Hyde thing, you know what I mean? Like, she doesn't even know it's her or something like that. That could be cool. Anyway. Whap! 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 I know there's a more efficient way to do that. I'm just stupid. Okay. Here, can you give it a break? I'm busy. Have a Snickers. Welcome back. If you missed anything, I'm a werewolf now. Not sure how things ended up like, well, no, I'm exactly sure how things happened like this. I had a funky dream, and I've made irreversible life choices, which is how most things go, you know, if you think about it. All right. Let's see. We might have to go the other way, honestly. Oh, shit. Did you see that, like, clip into it? Shit, okay. Hop over the rune. Hop over the room. Yeah, these are all skeleton archers. I'm not worried about them. Bro, I don't even know where you are, okay? It's in the lore, you'll feel intense blows, so you'll have trouble. Yeah! Where you begin the animals. I think that could be really cool, low-key. That could be a cool, like, side quest for her. I just had grilled chicken. Cool, I'm about to have raw human. Yeah, someone's over here. Where is he? I can't tear that down, can I? Where are you, bro? I don't see you. Oh, wait, what?
Ha! Found you! Die, you filthy demon!
Yeah, that one's not real. Where'd I go? Because I heard a dude's voice. So I'm like, hello? Ah! Thank you, Epic. I don't know why that scared me. Okay. Yeah, I thought maybe I could claw past that barrier, but then there's this. Oh, there's a button. Whoopsie. Alright, so he's gotta be in here then, right? Yeah, okay. Hi! Oh. Whoa. There we go. Alright, gimme. I feel like I'm like also a werewolf now because I'm literally just sitting here like, yes. Yes. Like if I stop talking and I'm just like, it's because I'm thinking murderous thoughts. Okay. No murderous thoughts, EB. Just kind, happy thoughts. Kind, happy thoughts. I would never do murder. That would be crazy. I am a good noodle. I am a say-so idol. Okay? Okay. Ah! Here. Holy shit! What the fuck? Let me take your alchemy ingredients while you're doing that. Can he get out from there? Wait, can he actually? I don't think he can get out from there. Letter from Necromancer. Oh, here's the key. We've driven the bandits. Oh, so I guess they took this over. Yeah, can he? Oh my god. Can I like kill him from behind here? There we go. That was gonna annoy me. Can I feed on him from behind? No. Okay. That's fine. This wasn't the door we opened. No, this is new. Okay, this is new, I think. Oh wait, no, it's not. This leads to Skyrim, right? Is this cleared? Can't tell if it's cleared or not, but I don't think it is. I don't know why. I feel like there's still something I'm missing. You know? Can I? Let me in. Okay. Yeah, because we killed him through here. Our bloodlust is still going strong. Ah, shit. No one's in here. Reanimate lesser corpse. Don't mind if I do. I do feel like I'm missing out on loot though, just because I am in my bloodlust. Yeah, and that's the door that was barred over, right? I think I have to wait for it to run out, actually. Because, like, can I not open that? I think I have to wait till I'm, like, out of my bloodlust to open that there. Which is, like, okay. I do wish I could kind of end it whenever I wanted to. There's no way to do that, is there? I can roar, which is cool. But I don't know how to get out through that way, which is mildly annoying. I guess we'll just leave then. That's fine. We can always come back, you know? I don't know why it wouldn't let me through there, you know? That's okay, though. Alright. I guess we'll go... Yeah, alright. We'll keep making our way to Morthal, then. Oh, wait, this is the prison. There could be more murder here. I like murder. Okay. Don't clip that. I don't know how that increased my heavy armor, but okay. Whee! God damn it. Depends on the monster pack, but try holding the power button? Oh, like hold it? Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. For some reason, my favor with Malakath went up. Maybe because I also prayed? Oh, shit. Where is he? Oh, fuck. Okay, I'm not a werewolf anymore, which makes things a little bit more complicated.
I am master of the arcane.
Oh, fuck.
Okay.
Alright, I definitely should have stayed in my... Well, actually, no, they're level 1. This is fine. I can't see! Ah! No, I can't! Ah, the camera! Okay. There we go. Okay. Is there any goodies in here? Oh, there's money. I'm definitely gonna need that after all the debt I went into. Anything I can disenchant? No, I don't want to disenchant these. Not quite yet. I'll probably want to put the heavy armor thing on a different thing, but not yet until I can like make the most of it, you know? Wait, what's this? Is there a path down here? What's this? Ooh. Interesting. I guess this is another... Oh, that's really pretty. That's very pretty. Like this, like right here. That's gorgeous, low-key. We're just gonna... And then, can I bless up? Perfect. Oh, this is another great fucking... No, I don't! I was in the middle of taking a screenshot! I'm busy! I'm trying to be pretty! I'm trying to be pretty! I'm trying to be Instagram ready! Okay, there we go. Oh, yeah, look at her. In the water. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one, chat. Okay. Okay. There we go. I love taking pretty pictures. Okay. Let's keep going. And we'll go... Yeah, don't I have a level up? I do. Let's keep doing health, magicka. Yeah. And then heavy armor's all the way up now, right? Yeah. Let's do one hand... Actually, let's do block, too. There we go. Now that those are up. We're already level 7, so we're doing pretty good. No one will know my crimes. No one will know, okay? Alright, let's head over to... Yeah, this is where we're going. Morthal, right? Yeah, okay. Let's go to Morthal, and then let's see what's going on with Jürgen Windcaller. I always thought the name Jürgen Windcaller was... This might be controversial. I thought the name Jürgen Windcaller was always a little silly. I'm gonna be real with you. Oh, hello. You're not worth my time. They are not worth my time. Okay, let's keep going. But now we're a werewolf, so that's cool. Is that something that like we can transform into whenever? Yeah, beast form. Ooh, interesting. Berserker rage. I always forgot I had rage, like the barbarian type thing almost. But let's head into Morthal. Yeah, there was a werewolf and they killed a bunch of people in the brothel. That was crazy. I mean, we've talked about how Rasha is a pure, wholesome being, but, like, there's something about the idea of Rasha killing people because they're horny is really funny to me. Like, I don't think she's that pure of a being, you know? Like, I don't think she gives a shit, you know? But something about Rasha just being, like, sex, die is funny to me. Like, she wouldn't, but it is funny. Maybe we'll do a playthrough that's, like, I don't know, I talked about doing, like, more stuff with Winter Sun. Maybe we will do, like, a Wench Destroyer playthrough. Oh, you even utter having sex? Eliminated! I don't know, that could be funny. Wait, what's going on here? Oh, it's just a mud crab. Okay. She can have one sex off-stream as a treat. She's waiting for the special someone, okay? She's waiting till marriage. She's a good Christian girl on this good Christian Minecraft stream, okay? Those are... Wait. Is Misty Sky here? Oh, no, I would kill Misty. Bro, Misty Sky gives me trauma. You mentioned her, I was like, where? No, she would eliminate Misty Sky. In a heartbeat. In a millisecond, okay? What do you have for sale?
Alchemist, then.
Yeah. Let's see. Potion of the night. I don't have anything to sell, actually, right now. What do I have? Do I have stuff to... Yeah, I could sell some stuff that I accidentally picked up. By my decree, you have no bitches. True. Alright. I think I yawn real quick.
How are we supposed to feel safe in our own homes?
Please, enough already.
For a second, I didn't, like, process what the horse was, and I thought it was another werewolf for a second. I was literally about to be like, what the fuck is that? Okay. Alright, let's go. Can I sell anything to you? Wait for sale.
Helmets.
Pretty much anything to suit your needs.
Cool. We'll sell, we don't need this, 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 we don't need this. Don't need that. Do you have a mod adjusting werewolves? So it looks like I'm the only, I think so, but I'm honestly not sure which one it is. I'll be real with you.
Until next time.
Okay. We are slowly making enough money to, to pay back all the things we bought. Oh, good night, Nick. And actually, I think on this note, this is a good note to end stream on, because I'm also getting kind of eepy. I had a really big weekend, and I've been trying to prioritize resting a little bit more. So I kind of want to play more, but I also know that my throat might feel like shit if I do. So next time, we will finally go find the horn of Jurgen Windcaller. We're in a good position to do so. But we had some good times, I think. I had a really fun time this stream, and a big thank you for the bits and for the frights. But I hope you guys enjoyed stream today. Thank you so much for coming. If you're new in town, my name is EB Games. I stream here on Twitch every Wednesday and Sunday at 6:30 p.m. EST, and I also stream on YouTube every Friday at 6:30 p.m. EST. Please feel free to join our community Discord. We will be having a community event not this weekend, but the weekend after. And then I also have a YouTube where every VOD I do will be posted there. I will be uploading this VOD there shortly. And then also, here's my other miscellaneous social media if you'd like to follow that. But gamers, thank you so much for hanging out. Yeah, it seems like we're all EP. Everyone's EP tonight. And I will catch you guys on the flip side. So let's go see who we can go raid and send our love and affection to. Let's send it to Pandora. Pandora is doing, she designed my Skyrim model. If you haven't seen the Skyrim model design, it is in the Discord in sneak peeps. But we are gonna raid her. She's playing some Overwatch 2. I hope she's getting fat dubs. And we will send our love over to her. We'll make our raid message be Hot Orc Mommy Raid. Yeah, I think that'll be good. Hot Orc Mommy Raid. My gamers, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you had a fantastic time, and I will see you on Wednesday. Bye-bye!
Why are you spending money on me, ma'am? Evie!
We really just rolled them that quickly and they all left.
The Widow took it personally, getting targeted by both supports.
I know. I love the raid message. That's great.
Gaslight, gatekeep,
Appreciate
girl
it very
boss.
much. Welcome in, raiders.